Let's begin by querying up the road to Stonewall. LGBTQ+ History Month is honored as the Black Cat becomes California's first LGBTQ+ historic landmark. A historic day for the Black Cat in Silver Lake, as it is named California's first ever LGBTQ+ historical landmark. A 6-year effort by the California Landmark Foundation, originally known as the Black Cat Tavern. Many people know the Black Cat as a neighborhood bar and a community joint for a beer and a burger. Its history runs deep in Silver Lake, and it's hanging on the walls. It was a frightening time to be a member of the LGBTQ+ community 55 years ago, and a historical marker at the Black Cat in Silver Lake reminds us of when and where citizens dedicated to taking a stand. On New Year's Eve 1967, undercover Los Angeles Police Department officers raided the bar, and 14 men were beaten, arrested, and charged with the lewd comment of a same-sex kiss. Activists like 87-year-old Alexei Romanoff helped organize the first documented LGBTQ+ rights movement in the country in front of the Black Cat. That demonstration predated the Stonewall Riots by a full 2 years. The Black Cat was designated a Los Angeles Historic Cultural Monument in 2008. The ceremony for the new plaque on Sunset Boulevard brought together community members, residents, city and state representatives like City Council member Hugo Soto-Martinez and State Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo. This recognition came on the first day of LGBTQ+ History Month. You know, I love that we're telling this story at Queer News tonight, launching this week of October being LGBT History Month. We've been talking in the first number of days, does the LGBTQ community focus on our history as much as we should? We have this month dedicated to it. And in general conversation, the answer was no. And that's really interesting because we fought so hard to get the representation and the acceptance and the respect that the LGBTQ community deserves. And this example in California becoming the state's first national or state historic marker is a representation of something that was very important at Silver Lake. Imagine what that New Year's Eve must have been like when 2 men kiss and police raid you, beat you with clubs, and then arrest you for a kiss. The world has changed. California has certainly changed. And this representation is the epitome of the history of our LGBTQ community.
You know, in New York, we have Stonewall, right? We have the Stonewall Inn and all its history, right? And even that, it took years and years for it to be really told, right? And there's still like some truths and some myths that are behind that. And that's because the right people haven't told the right stories, right? We need to remember this history. This history is so important. The more that people die, the more that we lose our LGBTQ history. If it's not told, if it's not spoken about, if it's not educated on, you know? I've been to this bar and they've had so many ups and downs out. Like in 2005 or 2006, they almost closed down. Even with having that kind of history beneath it, it didn't matter. And there are many other establishments like that many things have happened in LGBTQ+ history that we've already lost, you know? So I'm glad that they were able to get this done. I love that the 2 assembly people are Latinos, right? And that they wanted to make sure that this was an important part of history that is never forgotten. And we need more of this. There are so many other places that, you know, here in Florida, God forbid we teach LGBTQ+ history, right? Here in Florida, God forbid we teach Black history, right? Because none of that really happened either.
Don't even acknowledge,
don't even acknowledge Stonewall. So that's why things like this are even more important.
Yeah, I want to take an opportunity. Has anybody else visited the Black Cat?
No.
Let's wait. You become expert at the table. For all of our listeners that don't know, I picture this as a little dive bar, beer and burgers. Do you remember what the Black Cat was like?
Completely.
And help us describe what it was like.
I mean, I went there in the early 2000s, and it's very much like everybody at the table knows what Alibi used to be like before it got renovated, right? Even down to the smell. It's just like that. It's like, you know, and I'm sorry, you know, I'm an alcoholic in recovery. I love a dive bar smell. I don't have to drink it. Right? But I love the smell. And there's just something about the Black Cat that it's just like you go in there and you're like, other LGBTQ people have been
home.
here. We're home. I'm safe. It's the smell of poppers and balls. It's just really yummy. It's delicious. And you can have that with a burger because they have a really good burger there as well.
Poppers, balls, and burgers.
All right.
That's a new club.
Congratulations, California. It sounds like you made the right decision and our kind of place.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, we don't, you talk about knowing our history. I mean, I think enough young people understand Stonewall at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's the name of every party in the month of June everywhere in America.
Including our parade, by the way.
Including our parade. But I mean, I was on a conference call a couple weeks ago, and they were like, "Okay, now who's Billy Porter, and why is he important?" Like, we don't even know our current events. But what strikes me about this story is that an activist, 87 years old, helped organize the LGBTQ plus rights movement with the Black Cat. And I'm like, you know, you stood up. Probably when you're 87, you can probably even barely stand. But they stood up, and hopefully the generations have followed. I'm sure that person is not around anymore to see what happened, but your commitment paid off, and so thank you.
You know, I want to take one other opportunity. I thank you for giving us a firsthand account. Let me also take advantage of the story that you just told. Tell us what it was like to be there New Year's Eve in 1967.
Well, you know, me and Alexei were making out in the back room, and all of a sudden...
Congratulations, California and the Black Cat.